Alright, folks. Welcome back, everyone. 皆さん、おかえりなさい。今日は40日目です。It is day 40, solid 40. We are starting with Bunpro today because we have our 400-day Wanikani tentative takes. It's going to be at the end of our Hanzi Hero session. We're going to try to liberate some time for that. It will probably take 3 to 4 hours. I'm going to try to keep it within 4 hours. And that's the 400 is kind of important to me because we're kind of making like at that 90 over, and we're across the line of investment. So that's generally when I try to wrap it up, and we're gonna refine what we can gather from it. So the 400 tentative take later today on Wanikani, which is related to Bunpro. Many of the things that are currently happening with Bunpro is going to take part in why the Wanikani section is going to be refined as opposed to be further expanded anymore. I think there are quite a lot of lessons that will be mentioned later in the 400-day Wanikani review that will be integrated into Bunpro, much like the 300-day Japanese Duolingo thing. Those lessons end up eventually ending up in some way, shape, or form in the existing thing. That's kind of trying to consolidate some of the process that was related and then applying them and utilizing them in a way that we're interacting with Bunpro, because Bunpro will eventually exceed and follow Wanikani and Duolingo. So those two things, whatever they were transferable in those videos, that processing gets truncated and refined and tacked onto Bunpro. And since Bunpro will be the platform that also is where we're going to construct decks for future things, maybe like integrate here and there, it's great to collect my thoughts today on the 400 review and see where I could expand it in Bunpro. So many of the things that are an expansion of Bunpro, or like how I interact with Bunpro, are dependent on basically how well I describe the Wanikani section now. So yeah, that's later this evening, and we still also have our 400-day on Hanzahiro. Hanzahiro has like a tangential relationship. Hanzahiro's methods and the process that I interact with Hanzahiro was adapted a bit to Wanikani at the time, and then that Wanikani now is going to be adapted into Bunpro along with Duolingo. And Duolingo is not complete yet, so a lot of the stuff that we're going to be working on here in Bunpro is going to be retroactively expanded to Duolingo when we go back and complete the other half of the course. So deck ideas, like the way we refine decks using the Bunpro platform, is going to be the way I augment and support the remainder of the Duolingo experience. So all of these things are going to be connected, hence focusing on the process, right? The overlapping in process. A little about that later, where Bunpro sits right now, because it's sitting at 40 days. I think how we're going to do Bunpro things is going to be more related to completing the decks. I haven't decided when we're gonna do like the tentative takes or my version of the progress report for Bunpro. If we were gonna do the N5, like at the end of the N5 decks, that would be at the beginning of March. So sometime in the beginning of March, I'm going to decide if I want to do tentative takes that way. So instead of like ending on day 100, which I feel the way Bunpro is organized, we could organize it based on post N5, post N4, and so on and so forth, right? Haven't decided when yet. All right, let's get into our 20 vocabulary for today. All right, so our routine is we look at this, see if So right now, our first routine, which I'll go over once we, like in March, but what I'm currently doing right now is step 1. We look at character. Right. Then character means Wanikani. And then we go through all of them. So through the entire thing. So through the 20 lessons. Then we go back and read Bunpro's summary, which is right here. Then step 3, visualize an audio speech in my head. Visual and audio, this, and tactile. A mix of these So what I'll use is I would picture the character, specifically the character, utter the read that it has, and the tactile is air drawing. So air writing is how I'm doing the recall. And this is currently the routine for the lessons. Now, there is a subroutine right now, and the subroutine is 4 when the thing is new. So there are, because Wanikani is not curriculum based, it's not like N5, N4, there are gaps. We've already, or there might not be gaps, it's just they weren't addressed yet in Wanikani, or they might have been skipped. So a new, which is either skipped or not yet in WK, right? And these is a subroutine. So this is like a asterisk subroutine, and it only happens, it's supposed to happen less than 10% of the time, right? And that is where we use our subroutine, our Wanikani subroutine. Our Wanikani subroutine is the way we encode Wanikani lessons. This is where I will pull right now. We're currently using our notes function, and then using my shorthand subroutine, which will be described in today's day 400 tentative take, because we've already done a refinement of it. So that's going to be the subroutine to remember that stuff. So the idea is that I see the vocabulary word, right? I'm associating it both ways, because Bunpro emphasizes this direction. Wanikani emphasizes this direction. And then all this and pitch accent is what's emphasizing this. And then the tactility is my occasional active recall when I'm writing and whatnot, which I've already have, sufficient abilities to know like over 99% of the stroke order. So then I would use it in order to rectify anything my hand is what's rectifying what I'm seeing in my head, because oftentimes the way I write it can create sensations or abilities to know that there's something off about my character that I'm writing or the character that I'm visualizing. And that's what the routine is right now, which will be covered probably sometime in March about Bunpro. This subroutine right here is how I'm integrating Wanikani's thing. Now, Wanikani does do a little thing which I'll discuss later. They have grouping based on characters, which Bunpro does not do. Bunpro does not teach based on characters, so character coupling is not a thing. Duolingo is actually the first time that was exposed to character grouping, and that's how I used it. So whenever Wanikani does character grouping, it's a subroutine based on Duolingo. And Duolingo also do reads, so they do grouping, which I'll cover again later. Grouping in subroutines based on sound, visual, and meaning. And that's where everything comes full circle. So these are all the subroutines that I have. Duolingo, I mind web. So the most extensive use of a skill is mind webbing. Mind webbing sound, visual, and meaning. So synonyms, antonyms, their relationship with each other. Visuals, because they're similarly visually or they're the same. And sounds, so like kind of like homonyms and not homonyms, like antonyms. So antonyms, synonyms, and homonyms in sound, visual, and meaning, right? Then that was incorporated into Wanikani when we were doing the Wanikani subroutine, and now our current routine with Bunpro is this. That's kind of to give a teaser of how all three of them are related, how I'm approaching this. Anyways, so that's what I'm doing right now. It might look like I'm just basically staring blankly into space, but that's kind of, I'm trying to get it up to speed. And once I get it up to speed, I can do more. I can add more things to it, right? And it's largely when Wanikani turns over that I will have far more time to integrate most of this. Anyways, hareru makes sense, right? That's a ha. Hareru. I don't think there's anything else. Okay. Jinja. Jinja. Okay. Oh. Oh no, that's Keshiki. Special Keshiki. Okay. That's it. Okay. Kiseki. No, Kiseki, not Jiseki. Kiseki. G is Chinese. Kiseki. That's 季节. Okay. Okay. Deguchi. Okay. 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 Page. No, page. Page. Interesting. Yeah. Gold. Interesting. Alright, fair enough. Self-explanatory. Gold. Series. Oh wait. Series. 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 Series.
シリーズ
Yeah, series. Alright. The hang, so 上がる上がる Oh, this one's meaning is going to take some time. Usually written in kana when we use take. There's also another Bunpro subroutine, which is when the definition, because it emphasizes definition, there are other use cases of definition. So I need to come up with another way to, like, how do I encode alternative definitions? And they will come up during the exercise. They won't necessarily come up during this part of the vocabulary. It will come up during a sentence when it's used as like a different meaning, and I have to recall those meanings. So I currently working on how I'm going to connect the secondary, or whatever, what I consider as a secondary use. For example, this would be, while it's listed as the primary use, or like the use one, and it has a kana exception, right? It's written in kana, which makes sense because that's the kakaru that I'm used to seeing, kakaru, but I have visualized it differently. Kakaru is different from this kakaru. This is, oh no, actually this is hang too in kana, now that I think about it. Actually, all of it isn't. Oh wait, when is it not using kana? Yeah, so like I don't visualize kakaru as this. I visualize it as this. So there's a couple of things that I still have to navigate somehow in the future, a few steps at a time. I don't want to overwhelm myself. What was this? Fukuro. Fukuro. Fukuro is okay. Okay. This is Joel. Josho, right? Yeah. No, Jusho, not Josho. Jusho. Sure. Donata. 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 I don't know how often that actually gets used. This would be like the formal. It's kind of formal, as opposed to like dareka, or something like that. That's gonna cause like a 50-50. We'll have to look at the sentence examples. This would be another example of Bunpro specific things for me. All right. Era beta. kiku. Oh no, hiku. Kiku. Hiku. Hiku. This is specifically string instruments. Hiku. Huh. When? How often did I use this character? Oh boy. Oh no. Hmm. Do I use this character or do I use the other? Oh. Hmm. Yeah, so that's interesting. Did they introduce the other character? I don't know. Huh. This one's a little there's a yeah. I don't know. This is the character that I would visualize. This reminds me of Miru, right? Miru would be the closest example that I can think of when it comes to double characters defined this way, right? Because if we click on hiku, this hiku, right here, which is our first one, and this is the dominant one that I use, then it would flex to this character when they're using it as a form of playing the specific use case of this. So I am gonna have to get used to that. All right. Characters are important to me because I study characters. I've studied characters for some time now. So they are very important to notice the difference despite their use cases. Shingo. Shingo. Oh, Shingo. Okay. Okay. That's kind of special. Megane. Megane. That's a typographical error right there. Like, oh, it must be generated. Yeah, it must be generated. So it didn't distinguish that these are two different things because of the typographical spacing. So this must be some sort of generation process. And what I mean by that is it's probably organized in a way that they autofill these things across the board, and this one is specific because there needs to be a space between these. So then Megane and Megane will be displayed the same. Instead, there's missing in the scripting, there's a missing space. So this doesn't reset and do the thing. Yeah, I noticed it one other time. It's understandable. This is supposed to be Megane in katakana and hirakana separately, not like one thing, and it's not flat. This is not supposed to be flat. It's supposed to be still the same pitch accent. At least I don't think I've ever seen an example where the katakana was like, I don't like this. I've never seen that example before. Taishu. No, Taicho. Wait, Taicho, right? Taicho, which is physical condition. I thought it was an examination. Okay. Like a physical exam. Okay. Yep. Chef.
シェフ
Chef. I mean, I guess. Chef. Okay. All right. Let's go through them. All right. To become clear or for any impurities or obstructions to disappear, right? And I usually think of it when I think of this as to clear up in the sky, so to become sunnier or to stop raining. Which it helps me remember the rest, like to refresh, to be clear, to be dispelled. Thinking clearing sky is good enough because this is haru related. All right. Now, the thing that I discovered that is lacking is I do need to account for endings because endings are kind of weak from an output standpoint. So let's do that. If we're able to. We got is hot instead. Hot is pretty good. It still comes off as HAT though. Hot. Okay. We'll try this. Okay. A traditional wooden structure that's made for the purpose of the housing and worship of a god, often from Shinto religion. I see. Right. Ninja. Ninja. A land or scene that can be seen from a specific viewing point. 景色。景色。A word referring to the stature or stance of someone or something in relation to their spine or backside. Okay, se. Se. A period of the year characterized by a distinct change in weather patterns. A period of the year characterized by a distinct change in weather patterns. Kiseki. Kiseki. Just realized that has bamboo instead of flowers. The place from where someone or something can move from the inside to the outside. Deguchi. Deguchi. Right. To release something in a way that it becomes available or viewable by the general public. Kokai. Kokai. What is Eiji. Eiji. The individual rectangular leaves of a paper or similar material that binds together to form a book. Fair enough. A shiny color that is often to indicate wealth and prosperity, right? Goldoru. No, goldo. No, goldo. Goldo. It's the other way around. It's just goldo. A word which describes a set of something with progressive parts, often in relation to television. Word, which describes a set of something with progressive parts. Interesting. Right. Shirizu. Acquire the process of time or resource investment, or to bridge a gap. Acquire the process of time or I see. Or to bridge a gap. The bridge a gap thing is not hitting. Alright. This one's gonna be trouble. Thing would be like Wakaru. This is another one of the so we have double. Or I could do no. Hmm. Uh. Mm, not my best. That definitely is not the greatest, but we'll go with it. A thin pouch of fabric or plastic made for the purpose of carrying goods. Thin pouch of fabric, huh? Or plastic. Okay. A furo has been a thorn in my side, honestly. It's because of the dress radical. Okay. The specific location where one lives, usually written on forms or letters. Jusho. Jusho. You. Oh. Polite way to ask the identity of an unknown person. Yeah, so this is respectful. Sonkeigo. Sonkeigo. Oh. Donata. Donata. Which is gonna be a problem. My kana only entries are really weak. Like, quite weak. A device used in buildings with many floors to transport people up or down. Right. Elevator. Elevator. I keep using the L in the English. I need to stop that. Elevator. Okay. To play an instrument that requires the plucking of strings in order to produce reverberation. That's hiku, but it's a different hiku. A specific one. It has bow in it. Kinda nice. The right hand is very weak. But what is the right thing? I feel like it looks like 4. But it's not. What is it? Simple. Oh, that's bullet. We just got bullet. Actually. Oh. Wait. Do I have pull? I don't think so yet. Is pull gonna be on here? Oh, it does. Okay, there's hiku. So, hiku is coming. Hiku is coming. That's what that looks like. It's bullet. Done. A bullet, or this thing, this character also has elasticity. Or things involving with bouncing or like stretching as well. Kind of a pivot. A sign which indicates one specific meaning, often referring to a set of 3 colored lights at a traffic intersection. Right. What? Red, yellow, and blue, right? Red. Although Shingo is the character combination is actually kind of not the most. This has become a belief system, right? So whenever you're doing beliefs, and then this is also it. While it's number, I think of it more as a marker, like a mark. So when you have a belief mark, it could be like a traffic sign or a signal. A signal is something you believe in that's marked down. Okay. A piece of equipment worn in front of the eyes in order to aid with vision. Megane. Oh, that's bad. And glass. Accidentally added one stroke there. One's current condition in relation to physical health or vitality. So we got Tai, Taicho, so body, and then condition. A person that is responsible for the preparation and cooking of food. Chef. Alright. Let's give it a go!
明日は晴れると思う。
神社に行く。
綺麗な景色だ。
Yo, what? Oh, I see how they
彼
do
は
it.
背が高いです。
I see. I see.
どの季節が好きですか？
このビルの出口はどこにあるの？
名前を公開する。
Oops.
この本は400ページある。
ゴールドの腕時計が欲しい。
To go.
このテレビのシリーズは人気だ。
時計が壁にかかる。
この袋はとても大きいです。
私の住所はこれです。
The whole goal is to audio, right? Audio, visual, and tactile, but the tactile I'm kind of using keyboard now. So that's kind of one of the things that I have to divide between. The keyboard is also a tactile input. So if someone wanted to do something, for example, instead of like writing the kanji, writing the kanji, you could type what it is. But when you're typing what it is, right? When you're using your hand to type what it is, it comes off as a odomaji. So odomaji is being used here. Like for example, this would be, right? And donato. Donato, so then you would do like D-O, right? N-A-T-O, right? You could do it that way. However, this is over practiced, right? For me, this is over practiced. As in, I don't really get too much value off of the tactility of doing it this way. So now when I'm doing these exercises, I'm relying more on visual and audio output, which is when I see the character and I read the audio. Right now is what I'm doing, and this handwriting thing is going to be difficult to spend time with. So in this way, it's doing audio, visual, and then registering the romaji. So then the romaji represents the output. Or it's actually kind of the other way around, where I'm used to knowing where the kana is. So it's more like visual, audio, kana, and kana turns into input, and input is optionally going to romaji. So I rarely reach romaji. This is optional. So this is the order that I'm outputting. We visual, audio, kana into a keyboard output, and then that's what is over practiced right now. Well, this is the dominant input method. Well, input into Bunpro, but this would be the dominant output sequence for me. Right? For me, that's the dominant output sequence. That's what we're doing right now, currently. Oh, wait. It's not donato. Donut? No, wait. Oh,
あ
ta.
の人はどなたですか？
Donata. Not donato. Donata. Oops.
「これはエレベーターです」
And for kana and like for kana words, I skip visualization because kana is over practiced. So I skip over it, largely because whenever I need to visualize the character, it helps me understand the nature of the character itself, which is what we practice most of the time in Wanikani.
ピアノを弾く。
信号が変わる
So, for example, to give an example, when I visualize, I actually have to recall these actual characters. Like, these characters have to pop into my head, and then I have to imagine the audio. Right? Imagine the audio, and then do the output. However, in the future, which is what I did with Wanikani, whenever I see these characters, right, I would speak the character. So this part right here, this step right here, is very strong. It's really practiced. This part, as an active recall, is not. So, and then Bunpro's thing is that we have to take this and go before this. So this is the working step that we're practicing. So this is the step that we're practicing on when we're using Bunpro. You can see that Wanikani has nothing to do with that, right? So Wanikani is the step after this. It's after this. So this comes before, or if you view it as a loop, right? This loop is not being actively practiced in Wanikani. So that's the part that we're trying to work on. We work on this part by doing the part that I understand really well, which is this. So I can rely on generating if I see this in my head, that it's easy. or practiced. It's practiced, really well practiced. So all the things that come instantly to me are the ones that I can immediately know what the characters look like. So the kana, whenever there's a kana word, like a hiragana word and a katakana word, they take a while because there are no characters. Like what I mean is there are no kanji. There are no kanji related to them, so they do not possess an extra layer of context that is separate from what Bunpro offers, which is the sentence and the partial in Japanese, which that's the part that I'm working on. I don't do this when I'm, when you're talking about what does that have to do with output and stuff. Well, when I'm listening to vlogs, right, and reading, for example, reading subtitles and whatnot, you don't do this. You're not doing partials and you're not reading English things. Well, you can. I kind of sort of do. So I use dual subs when available. So English and Japanese would be next to each other. But this stuff, you're not doing this process either. This part, you're not practicing that either. This is an output related thing too. It's semi-output related, which is what people don't, in my opinion, is underrepresented. So whenever someone says, oh, I know this word, and I'm like, okay, can you tell me the word for this? And they would sit there and like, I would know if I see it. It's like, well, yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. That's why I'm asking you to produce the visual. And then I would ask them, okay, can you output it? So I can know and I would ask them, oh, okay, well, try writing this out. Or what buttons do you press on your keyboard? Can you nomaji it? Can you write it with a pen, right? Because those things are connected to the other processes. But most of the time you can definitely tell. It's not a bad or a good thing. You can tell which parts they rely on, which ways they like. You don't need to do this if you're reading the whole thing. And if you're listening to the whole thing, there's no missing information. The missing information, the information you are forgetting is the information you're trying to take in. You're not filling in missing information. It's a different strategy and a different skill, which you can test very readily. Okay, well this one... No, this one's fine. Although this can be written in katakana, so there are these exceptions where megane can be written in katakana, and the reason why it's, in my opinion, if I had to guess, the reason why it can be written in katakana is because it's easier to write compared to this. These are two very standard characters, but they're high in strokes. Like megane in katakana is much fewer strokes overall. Although I'm used to seeing it this way because of Chinese, since megane would not exist in Chinese because that's in katakana. 眼睛, right? 眼睛. Feelings. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. 体調はどう?
体調はどう?
Or that's kind of a weird way to ask a question, but I get it. How do you do this? Oh no, is it like... Oh no. Oh no, it's like this? Yeah.
私の母はシェフです。
Okay. Alright, good to go. Our encoding routine is... Yeah, it's okay. Our encoding routine is kind of improving. For vocabulary, the grammar encoding is going to need some work because I still haven't done it long enough. The grammar encoding is fairly optional because you have to also do it a lot. Like you have to, when you're reading sentences, you're reinforcing the encoding, or like if you have to encode new information if you're forgetting things, the grammar side of things. Anyways, all right, so let's go into our vocabulary and see what we can scrounge up here. What time is it? I want to at least start the tentative takes before midnight. So it's 10 right now. It's gonna have to start after midnight. Let's do some of these. Do like a sweet 100 or something like that. Try to get 100. My mine? Like head? Like atama? No, the way that a person views something. Oh, their opinion. Interesting. My mind. I hadn't even thought about it that way. How do opinions work? It's like, it's not thought. Not sets it. Yeah. Could be like nature. It's probably nature. No, not nature. It's seeing. Can it's idea, and so he can.
今度こそ自分の意見を上司に言わなくちゃ。
He can. Wait, is this actually Atamataka? He can. Okay. Can. Fair enough. Okay.
"あなたの家は林の中にあるでしょ
その建物は何ですか？
This is a 50-50. I mean, the student is asking the teacher, so I would use naze if I was asking a teacher. It's not true for the examples. So largely a 50-50.
父と土曜日に釣りへ行くつもりだ。
私たちは来月に結婚するつもりです。
My, like, it is watashi, so it uses watashi. Kind of personal, so it's probably we want the truncated version, maybe. Like that's how I would know.
私の夢は警官です。
Like if I'm expressing my dreams, it can be considered casual thing. Reply sounded reply 彼女 reply はとても追い越えた。Wait. 良い越えた。Oh, that's kind of a neat way. Okay. I feel like it's probably going to use like maybe
彼女の返事はとても良い声だ。
Henji. Henji is return matters. So when you return to a matter, you're replying to it. Yeah, I figured. Oh no. Oops, I missed
空
that.
港のスタッフ。スーツケースに電池を入れてはいけないよ。
We have a different series. What are the two characters? Definitely, it's a non-adjective. Know that. How are we able to express seriousness? Or person. This is like yesterday's thing too. So it's like true. Face. 真面目。
私の姉は真面目な性格です。
Nature. The other nature. Or Jisen. Something Sen. Definitely Sen. I thought I could use Jisen. Oh no, wait. Oh, it's a... Am I being a pep? Huh. Different nature. Or... Oh. There's no G, it's she. Oh.
僕は人工物も自然も好きだ。
Shizen. This one is not quite that great because of the left character. character. Yeah, it's not the greatest. Okay, I needed to double check the left character. What the face? A typical way to refer to a number, especially in regards to that number's sequence. Oh.
私は歌を一番上手に歌います。
I get why they made that face because there's an ichi already. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Oops. Wait. That's not how that
あな
works.
たにとってこの問題は難しい？
What? Oh, is that how a comedy? Oh, so you do an oh yeah. Okay, fair enough.
お笑いを見て笑う。
夏より冬の方が日が短いです。
Oops, I've got the
友
ma.
達の家に泊まります。
明日は0度なのでコートを着るつもりだ。
What? Oh, are we using like move? Probably move. Or yeah, it's probably move. I think move is new for me. Oh no, it's not new. We also made sure uh
ウイルスがうつる。
thing.
この大きなものは何ですか？
That doesn't seem right. No, we're not using an interrogative.
この道は事故が起きたところだ。
休み? Let's try. Oh, light version.
明日は祝日なので学校はお休みです。
このナイフは何に使いますか？
紙に小さな点を書く。 監督は調子が悪い選手をベンチに下げなくてはいけない。
I'm getting used to thinking of sageru and sagaru for like going back or like retreating from a position. And I'm starting to forget retreating and resigning the other ones. And now that's kind of a weird feeling.
あの店員よりこの店員の方がフレンドリーだ。
フレンドリーだ。Okay.
宣伝用のコピーを考える。
おばあちゃん、私の孫は私の肩を揉むのが上手です。
名車の予約を取り消す。
Excuse me.
そのニュースは恐ろしいです。
What is oh yeah, I don't see なくして oh yeah, so the na yeah. Add. I'm thinking like not quite sad, but more think of the character. This is actually a new word. Or I just saw it. I think the last example was it. Pretty sure the last example used the same thing that I was looking for. I wasn't listening very closely. Or is it... No. Oh no, it's not. Dinan. No? Oh, maybe that's disappointing. Wait. Maybe that's not it. Okay. I thought I could use Dinan here. Oh, no, wait. No. Yeah, Zainan. Yes. Not specifically a verb. I don't know. A word which highlights a feeling of regret or frustration towards. Oh no, it's not zai, it's zannen. Zannen.
財布をなくして残念です。
Zannen. Oh, I missed a stroke. Missed a stroke.
あなたは何か飼っていますか？
あなたの国の文化を教えてください。
子供、お菓子を買ってください。大人、安いお菓子だけね。
この自転車は電動なのでとても高いよ。
Not negative. Despite that word, that phrasing being negative in English, it's not negative. So maybe fairly casual and versatile word. So it's like a positive thing, but negative thing. Or maybe like
私は義理の両親のことがどうも苦手です。
okay.
彼氏を探す。
今日の空は青いです。
The heck? 大学のオープンキャンパス。I mean, oops. Wait. Yeah. It's not. What? Oh. I missed it.
母が息子に
It's fine.
一緒に大学のオープンキャンパスに行きましょう。
I missed the stop.
So その綺麗な女の人の名前を教えてくだ
Those are
さい。
50-50 because of the translation. Oh.
学校の事務員。私の仕事は お客様を案内することです。
Conversation? We definitely have wa. Definitely wa. I don't think it's something like. Oh, it could be dan, tan though. Or oh,
誰と会話しているの？
excuse me. Wait, kawaii yo. Oh, kawaii yo. An amount which is considerable but not excessive. I know, but maybe.
恋バナをする男子生徒。僕の彼女は結構可愛いよ。
たくさん練習したので字が上手になった。
自分の名前を聞く声が聞こえる。
Oh, wait, people. Whoops.
父が息子に、仕事や運転をする前はワインを飲むな。
あなたの近所に湖はありますか？
火は危険です。
I want to say. Oh. Ooh. Oh man. I think it's definitely got D. No. Do you?
あなたが日本語を勉強する理由は何？
あの人が私の国の王だ。
No. Oh yeah. I think this might be used for definitely
成績が上がる。
あなたは田舎に住んでいますか？
私は来年で小学6年生になります。
What? No, no. Oh no. Wait. I thought I could get away with like.
人生は
Oh,
これからです。
okay. Okay. It's fine. Oops. I missed
別れ
the
話の
vowel.
最中、彼女。どうせまたあの女の子と会うでしょ
Hmm.
部屋が寒いと感じる。
う。和風の弁当を買う。
Hmm. Ending with kata. Maybe. No. That's not. There's no negation. It just wasn't, or was, but then it has to be a negative word. That doesn't fit in. Another way to say little. How do is like that should work. Oh no.
夜ご飯が少なかったので夜食を食べました。
久しぶりに友達に会う。
Oops.
あなたは神様を信じていますか？
兄が弟に。もう終わったことをくよくよ悩むな。
試合を見るのは楽しいですが疲れます。
What the balls? Oh, that ball.
私は運転をするのが嫌いだ。
客が美容師に髪を短くしてください。
夫が妻に、これからはビールを飲む回数を減らすつもりだ。
私は身長が低いのであそこに手が届きません。
What the? Slight agreement. I mean, ママだね。ママだね。ね？
新しいバイトはどう？まあまあだね。
Okay.
あなたは何歳ですか？
How do I, is it erect? No. Oh, oh really? Wait, really? Oh, how does that work? I thought it was like hang up. Oh no. No. No, I don't think so. No, no. Really? Maybe it is. Or is it? Is it
キ
Haru?
ャンプでテントを張る。
Interesting. Interesting. Excuse me?
父が
I
息子
wrote
に、
there.
帰ってきたときは手をよく洗いましょ
Place extra attention. Extra attention. I need to write. So how do again? And then Iowa. Be careful. Gotta do the extra attention. One's not that great too. Like poor ideas. So like
この国ではスリに注意してください。
put into okay. Oh.
う。彼女は小学生なの？
What type of exam are we talking about? Or no, wait. Wait. Oh no. I'm dropping exam as well. Test is and thought it was
明日は試験があるから早く寝ましょう。
That's okay.
海外へ行きたいです。
Work. Uh, oops.
父の日なので父にプレゼントを渡した。
Hmm. Interesting. I think grammar points are right there. For example, dang. No. I have to write this. Oh, no, wait. 例えば。
僕は動物が好きだ。例えばウサギや猫、モルモットなどだ。
胸をさする。
Good? I think school works.
電気がシャツにつく。
Good.
この祭りは古くからある。
1メートルは何センチですか？
このリンゴは赤い。
Excuse me. Is it like the lifestyle thing? Heck. That's not it.
都会で生活をする。
今日は夜の9時まで塾で勉強をするつもりだ。
私の息子は先月で成人になった。
学校生活の終わりに大怪我をする。
That's kind of a 50-50. So. Kind of like pretty sure it's voice attached to
私がどれを選択すればよいか教えてください。
I took up Taku. Okay. That's my most recent. I know. Um,
今日の夕方は何をしますか？
私はこの絶好の機会を生かしたいです。
私は苦い茶が好きです。
that's a 50-50.
あなたは明日の天気を知っていますか？
Okay, yeah, I see that.
家の鍵が見つからない。
これは私の母のピアノです。
The heck? So they kind of come together. Maybe like suit. Oops.
別れの時、友達。さようなら、元気でいてください。
Can you get a taksan no?
ビーチには大勢の人がいます。
足が痛いのでエレベーターを使います。
彼は下の階に住んでいます。
Boy. The what boy? Oh, they wanted that? Okay.
このクラスには男の子が15人います。
I just have problems with this.
「僕の母は一年中ダイエットをしています。
What? I know I hesitate. Question?
駅はどこだっけ？
Alright, that's good. That's good for today. I gotta get to Hanzahiro. Start fucking along. Fucking 100 here. Alright, let's write a couple here that I wrote down. I got a few. Oh, that was actually a Sugiru thing from yesterday. So definitely Haru is being used in quite an interesting way. Oh, Haru. The key was put up in the context of a tent. There's quite a lot more, but there's a lot of kind of like stretching to bridge things. So a tent requires that action. And Aiwa rip. Rip. What's it? Hold up. I think Aiwa. Oh my gosh, my hands. Try this. Think. Have to double check. This was like to discuss, talk. And then Chewy. I space on ideas so much. Like like caution, pay attention. Make sure. Oh, not Iowa, Kaiwa. What am I writing Iowa for? Iowa. Heck! That's the wrong... Oh, this is life. What am I doing? Wrong character. I'm thinking of that lifestyle one. Seikatsu. Seikatsu. What is seikatsu? lifestyle. Let's double check these. Really? Right. Oh, there was also opinion. My hand in the morning, well, the first time writing, my left to right is so shaky. Wait. It's Eken. Eken. Or not? Is it? Wait, am I? Or Eken? Again. I am. What was he? Wait, hold on. Yeah, okay. Can I think of something else? There are a couple other. I think 5 is good. We'll keep up the 5. Pick up like 5 up to 7, between 5 and 7. That'll be what we're gonna do for the end recall session, not to extend it for too long. Alright folks, that's a wrap for my Bunpro session today. If you're gonna watch this later, arigatou gozaimasu. As always, feel free to follow along, pick up Bunpro for yourself, give it a try. You're always welcome to come on by and share and expound on kind of alternative routines you're embedding and layering on top of each other, right? Spend a little bit of time teasing about what I'm going to cover in the first tentative takes of Bunpro. And of course, later this evening, I will be covering the 400-day Wanikani review, and I was kind of practicing a little of that, where Bunpro fits into all of this and the interaction between Wanikani and Bunpro. All right, I'll bring up a little bit of Duolingo and Hanzahiro. They're all kind of connected. The idea of spending time doing something is to do all of them in some way, shape, or form so that I practice all of it. Now, the thing is, there are things you don't practice, like things that are incredibly over practiced. Then you can, like I spend less and less time on them, but I do them every once in a while. So it's not like I'm there's this one thing that's happening with someone that I know that I've been looking at. What happens from a lot from the perspective of someone who does not work on process oriented thinking is that it always seems like it's all or none. So like when you want to learn to do something, you apply it from day 0 and then you apply it all over again. So like there's an inability to synthesize, reform, and iterate. It's a consistent thing where, oh, since I'm going to do it this way, I'm going to start from the beginning and do that same process throughout the thing. It's like, no, you change, you edit, and you refine your process as you're going. Otherwise, it becomes overwhelming. Like, for example, I don't abandon what I've done in Wanikani. I refine it, make it pocket-sized and efficient, so I can then bring it to Bunpro. And then what I do on Bunpro will then be married with Wanikani and Duolingo. That's kind of what I'm trying to illustrate while doing this. It's harder to illustrate in video games. I usually yap a lot to illustrate that. And we're going to do that again in less than a week now. It's in 3 days. I saw the early release reviews, critics reviews of Kiwami 3 and Dark Tides, but commentary are laced together, right? You build legacy. You don't abandon and forget and then wash yourself and then do all or none again. So right now, currently, someone that I have been interacting with for quite some time is struggling with that. Every time they think like they're going to start a new thing, they go and redo everything. Like, oh, well, this is the best iteration of this method now. Now I'm just going to go and do it all over again. And it feels like misery. It feels like tedium because you're starting all over. The idea of starting a new method is to scrap the old method. And that is one of the things that I've been speaking about quite a lot now. You don't start from square zero, like, or square one. For those who use 1 as a starting place. You don't start from 0 again each and every time. Like, okay, oh, here's a new method. Oh, now I have to start from 0 because you have no experience with any of the other methods you've ever used or whatnot. And that feels like starting over each and every time. You're going to start over. I don't, like, it's been a very long time since I started working on a new skill, quote unquote, new skill with no legacy, right? And I earnestly do believe those people. Like, I'm not trying to gaslight them into thinking that they can do something that they don't know how to do or do regularly. So whenever someone thinks about learning a new skill, they think they're starting over. Like, oh, this skill, yeah, we're starting from scratch. Like, oh, this skill, I have no other things that are helping me learn things. Like, learning is forever. Learning is transferable if you so choose, right? So I'm not gonna go out and tell the person like, hey, you do know I pointed all these things out. Those things are supposed to make every future iteration of the skill you're trying to develop easier. That is how I know that the person I'm speaking to is actually learning something. If you're memorizing things, then every time you go to learn the thing again, it'll be as hard as the first time you memorized it. Because you didn't learn anything along the way to memorizing the thing. You memorized it, it's temporary, it's stored there, and it will get you... Hopefully it stays in your noggin long enough for you to use it so that it can create value. But generally speaking, like, I can't tell you how often in the last 2 years that the most common thing that I hear is someone learning something, or they think they're learning something, forgetting all of it, not using any of it, and then starting over with like a new method, which they believe this next time with a new method is going to help them learn the thing. No, it's going to help them memorize, like better memorize the thing, and it'll stick longer, but it's the whole process. You have to get to output and application and use and transferable skills. So what you can learn from these things, in my opinion, the greatest value from using a tool and looking at design and whatnot, is to understand how it works. Like, how are all of these things working with you or not working for you? How are they clashing with you? If they're not working, you also have to learn how they're not working, so that you don't go and pick the next best thing and it turns out to be more of the thing that's not working with you, right? I had some harsh realities, told a little bit of harsh realities to one or two people over my last 2 years, where like, yeah, you tell me this a lot, but it doesn't sound like you've learned anything. You've increased the volume of info that you must maintain, but that info has no sentimental value. It legitimately spews 0 value. You're collecting information for the sake of collecting it temporarily. They do not persist in your memory because they have no output. You still have to secure it eventually, right? You keep inputting, that's great. Like, all that input, eventually you have to execute on the input to an output so that it can reinforce itself in the future. Yes, you can learn a lot of things you can remember a lot of things very quickly, and for a increasing amount of duration of time when you use great strategies. Now, the solidification and the perpetual nature of memory is through use and output. So despite output being a small portion, quote unquote, small portion of something, it is required to execute on it. So like today, what I'm doing now is I'm executing on my wanikani. Like, most of this stuff, the encoding and stuff, you're learning, it's more input, you know, more information and all that. That's great. But now I'm using wanikani, the input that I gained from wanikani, and I'm using wanikani as an output. So Duolingo has been an output for wanikani, and now wanikani is an output for Bunpro. So the vast majority is still taking in input, but I'm securing the stuff that I've learned from wanikani. If you're not, in my opinion, doing both, then eventually you'll forget the thing that you do not secure, right? It's kind of the whole idiom. There's so much more about that idiom. Use it or lose it, right? You learn something, it's there, it's gonna last. If you're lucky, like if you're really good, it's a year to 2 years, and then it evaporates. It's gone. The things you've output is what you secure, in my opinion. And because outputting leads to deeper processing, or encourages. It doesn't guarantee, but encourages deeper processing. And that deeper processing may lead to the exploration of additional input, right? They're tied together. They're not exclusive of one another. I really dislike the constant push for sufficiency, like sufficiency and simplification for the sake of efficiency and sufficiency. They are all tied together. You eventually have to do all the steps. The steps must be complete, right? Although, while some say it's sufficient, what they mean is it's sufficient to drive the process to completion, right? Like, despite saying doing input only is sufficient, what it's saying, in my opinion, is that it's sufficient to drive eventual output. Not it is sufficient as in it's completely void of output. Like, output just, it does not exist. That is, in my opinion, incredibly asinine to assume. If you are assuming that, then yeah, we're in the same point. You constantly spin the wheel of inputting and spin the wheel of inputting, and eventually the volume will balloon to a point where maintenance of that volume is sidelined by a lack of time, a lack of emotional stability, and a lack of consistency. There are so many things working against you, in my opinion, when the volume balloons to a size that is void of output, void of application, and void of any motivation or feedback. Input does not provide feedback, period. Like, I mean, I guess that's a really hot take for some people, but I think the vast majority of people understand that input has no feedback. You do not get feedback without outputting something. And when you think, oh, well, you know, you can still self-evaluate, that's an output. In my opinion, you have to output something to self-evaluate, right? When you're doing input and you're asking yourself, oh, do I remember this stuff? Oh yeah, I remember this word. That's an output. You're recalling. You took something in and you're asking yourself if you remember something and how well you remember it. That's an output. So it's crazy when someone tells me like, oh, you know, I just input only and then I went to Japan and had no problems. It's like, I doubt you input only during that period. You probably were thinking like when you're sleeping, you're having dreams about Japanese. Output. You look at objects every day and you think of all the Japanese words that it reminds you of. That's an output. Like it's semantics. I know we're talking about semantics now, but your brain is triggered by something. Those require outputs. They're not inputs. So when you're doing your reviews and you're blindly just looking and saying, oh, I know that, I know this, I know that, then yeah, it's weak output. It's very, very weak output. That's fair enough. And then whenever someone takes that trigger away and say, hey, can you tell me this? And you're like, well, I could tell you it if I had the proper triggers. Your output sucks. Because your input is so strongly preferentially triggered by something that without the input, you can't draw an output. And I feel like right now, in another year or two, the most here's a fun little site, hot take that might not come true because I'm making a prediction here. I usually don't, but for the sake of fun exercise, I think there's such an emphasis on input-only strategies that if Japanese continues to be incredibly popular and trendy, in another year or two, the most common demand, one of the highest trending common demand, is trying to find methods in encouraging people to output while they are inputting. So more and more strategies will come out where they're like, hey, all right, and Bunpro is already leaning towards that. It's great to see Bunpro is doing that, where like, hey, you learned something. Here's a game and a fun game mode to apply the things that you're learning right now. Here's another way to look at how you can practice and do the things that you like to do while also learning your lessons. So while you're inputting and encoding, you are practicing, right? You are practicing and outputting. Practice is a form of output. So you have in, out, right? And then a lot of times people keep working on, oh yeah, how do I make this better? Right? And what can be very frustrating is they think that they're wasting their time learning this part. That's very important. However, it's not helping them with their goal. So then you sit here and I hear day in and day out, week after week, they're like, oh, you know, I really enjoy making my Anki cards, or I enjoy like farming and sentence mining, the act of creating better inputs, like creating better input. That's an awesome skill, by the way. However, whenever they look at their goals of outputting Japanese, it falls short of their expectation, because a lot of the time is actually invested in how to make the input better, which is a really excellent skill, by the way. Like It's probably one of the reasons why Bunpro exists. It's also why Wanikani exists. Wakotabi. We talk about Wakotabi quite a bit. We'll probably talk about Wakotabi in March when I get up to date on Wakotabi. The act of learning something, right? The act of learning something involves a skill. That skill actually can help with output, or understanding how output fits into your schedule, like into your routine, right? Because in order to understand how your output is, you have to evaluate all these things. Like, is this thing sticking? Like, are these characters sticking in your head? Like, how do you evaluate that stuff? That's where the reviews, the form of inputs, flashcards, right? So that's going to keep on the uptrend. And even despite the whole like religious, we had a discussion about one of the influencers who like push certain things, and in the end of the day, it's both, but one is definitely heavily favored over the other. And there's a clear, even within my 2 years, like Japanese has been kind of trending well before my 2 years of starting, but it's kind of like going even more, it's going higher, like higher by removing the synthesis of input in order for people to output from their input consistently. So you are trying to be encouraging yourself to do your reviews while learning something. And how you can do both of them is how you get that benefit of a perpetual machine, right? A perpetual machine. If you keep storing energy, storing opportunities to do something, and you never go and do anything, then how do you expect to feel rewarded and whatnot? And we're not talking about dopamine responses, because yeah, sure, like streaks, right? Streaks, days study, these are your daily dopamine responses. Like the number goes up, daily dopamine responses. But there's also mechanical and conceptual growth, which involves the process of self-evaluation. And you can't self-evaluate without outputting and then being able to measure that. Right now, what I see is how to streamline input so you don't have to do anything on creating input. And so that means you don't know what is good input, because you don't output from that input to understand if the thing is working. So over time, people would basically have a trust me bro situation. You pick the best method and you hope it works. And then when it doesn't, you go to the next process and hope it works. It's not, I rarely get this impression that when someone says, oh yeah, the first 3 ways that I learned, it didn't work, it didn't last long, and I asked them, you know, so what did you learn? Like, did you learn things to avoid? Because it sounds like you just hate those things, so what caused you to hate them? There's no learning process behind it. There's no selection factors, no growth in it. It's more like, oh, this is the best. So it works for most people. If it works for almost everyone, then I'm part of everyone. It's like, okay, then fair enough. It's sufficient. The word is sufficient. Probably most of the methods, you know, I'm not like I'm not like dogging or jabbing all the kind of material available, is the idea that all of them are probably sufficient to work. The quality of life for the person who has to go through that process over and over again will vary. Some people, once they fail once, they just simply give up. And some fail like 10 times and they still repeat the quote-unquote same mistakes. But the mistakes that I'm focused on, I'm not saying they don't make other mistakes. The mistakes that I focus on is that they repeat the same learning mistake, which is basically not to learn how to self-evaluate, process, and learn how to output for the sake of understanding mechanical, conceptual understanding of the process in order to create attention to self-evaluation. So they effectively, consistently repeat the same mistakes over and over again. It's irrelevant of the context. So the context in this case of self-evaluation is the method. Someone would ask me, oh, do you think this method's going to work? Like, how much do you know about yourself? Like, because even if you know all of it, it's still unpredictable, right? There's still an unpredictability. But in order to get a better idea of how methods work and interact with you, you would have to be able to self-evaluate. Otherwise, you would need not a stranger. It's not a stranger that's gonna know this stuff. You would have to ask someone who's a very close to you. So like a friend, family, they would be more likely to be able to tell you if a method's going to work. Otherwise, you're reliant on your own form of self-evaluation. It's the I, right, that is so trivial to people. When I personally think, lack of a pun, this is one of the weakest aspects of method training, where someone says like, oh, you know, I think I'm pretty smart. I think I'm pretty confident. If I pick the best method, it says it works for most people, so I guess I'll get the most value out of it. That's ludicrous. If you're so confident in that, that's crazy. Like, if you're that overconfident, I would say you're more likely to be complacent about your overall competence than driving for better self-understanding. So whenever someone says like, oh yeah, okay, I think this is a good idea, I'll use this. 2 days later, it's like, I think this is the worst idea ever. I need to find a new idea. It barely even lasts a week. And my thought is, if it happens very rapidly, that means there's a lot of opportunity for growth. But no, I get humbled. I get sober. I sober up quite often when someone says, oh, I tried A, it didn't work for 3 days. B, it didn't work for 4 days. C, it didn't work for 2 days. It's like, man, you must have learned a lot about yourself, right? Like, you've tried 3 or 4 different things. There's got to be so much information in there to improve your competence about yourself. No. Enter a month, 2 months, 3 months, and I ask the same questions and they repeat the same mistakes. Overestimating their competence, constantly sweeping things under the rug, like, oh, I think I did pretty good here. Oh, this is not as bad. It's like, how? Why is it not bad? Like, have you processed this? Because you always want things to get better, consistently better than before. If something is bad, it should be less bad next time, or even good next time. Like, dear me, things improve despite them being bad. Something that's inherently frustrating can be less frustrating in the future. That is the output telling you that you are conceiving mechanical and conceptual understanding of the process to better self-evaluate yourself, right? When you suck at something, you suck less next time. You can choose to quit at any time. Then it stays that way, right? It's so weird. So, like, in image, your competence, I, is not static. But it doesn't stop someone from treating like it's static. Like, I'm smart, right? When not me, I'm not saying I, but when someone says I am smart, somehow that never changes. Like, oh, I've never had a problem before, so why have a problem now? It's not my problem, it's their problem. If something doesn't work, they were smart once, So it's not like they stop being smart. And my first thought is, well, people are relative in their experience. You're neither smart or stupid. You have the capacity to work smart and hard on anything. The question is, do you have an accurate understanding of your relative competence to the task at hand? And usually it doesn't change for most people. They would say, well, you know, I've learned Japanese before, so Chinese is going to clearly be the same because now I'm smart and the rest of the stuff will never be difficult again, right? And yes and no. I usually err on the side of improvement. So whenever someone asks me, do you think it's worth doing something again in the future? Yes, absolutely. When someone asks you, well, then you mean it's worth learning the same thing again the same way? It's like, no, I wouldn't be learning it the same way, same thing again. The content is static, right? Like the content is static. How I learn things will never be the same ever again. That's the whole point of learning. If you learn something, it'll never be the same ever again. Like, unless, you know, you unlearn something or you completely overwritten or discard something, then sure, you'll learn it again. And if you learn it again, that's a reminder to you, at least in my opinion, that what you discarded was actually important. So then there will be regretfulness and like a feeling of waste of time. That's usually not the case for me. Like, I move forward, I don't move backwards. So whenever someone says like, oh, would you do it all again? I actually got this question like 3 days ago or something like that by a random stranger who didn't stay long enough to, probably it's one of those where they didn't stay long enough to even hear my response. Yeah, I do it all over again. No, actually, maybe not. It might actually be Mr. Yeah, like doing it again doesn't mean it's the same. Humans are learning. Humans never do the same thing again. Like, if you truly believe, in my opinion, if you truly believe you have learned something from doing something, it's never the same ever again. It is never going to be the same. You can't, unless somehow you think you can unlearn things, right? When you unlearn things, it was never, to me, it was never important in the first place. Like, if you unlearn something, like literally intentionally say, I've spent hours learning how to do this, and like now I just discard it because it's a stepping stone. And hear me out, I just described more than 50% of language learners I've encountered personally, anecdotally, where they see things as stepping stones. But the thing about stepping stones is you understand why they're stepping stones. Like, you keep them as stepping stones. You don't step over them and forget about them. Like, oh, I'm never going to use that again, so I'm going to discard it. And the next time it shows up, it may never show up, by the way, which is fine. But if it does show up again, the first thing that comes out of that person's mouth is, oh yeah, you know, I used to know how to do this, but I totally forgot it. I thought it wasn't going to be important, so it never comes up again. There's another alternative to this, which is what I feel like I use more often than not. I convert those stepping stones into something else. Those stepping stones will become a part of a new line of thinking. I'll refine those stepping stones. I'll collect some of the goodness of every stepping stone, and I'll build something from it so that I don't forget them. And if they never come up again, you know, if they don't get used again, I use them. So there's another story branch to this. If you use the thing, it no longer is a stepping stone. It is part of what you do. You don't have to do it for everything, but generally speaking, if you're really loving something, you know, passionate about language learning, why are you choosing to forget about language learning? Like, that's different. That's different from someone who says they love Japanese. So I can totally understand that. If they say they love Japanese, like reading Japanese, speaking Japanese, that's fair. I'm okay with that. You are more than welcome to forget how you learned Japanese, because learning Japanese is not the same as speaking, listening, teaching Japanese, or not teaching Japanese. Teaching Japanese is way off the mark. So speaking, learning, you know, speaking, learning, or speaking, listening, right, writing Japanese, those are fine. So when you go around and show how awesome you are by speaking Japanese and listening and communicating Japanese, that's perfectly fine. That's loving to use Japanese, right? It's really confounded by someone who comes up and say, oh, I absolutely love everything about Japanese. It's like, okay, everything you say. What about learning? Like, oh yeah, I love learning Japanese. Okay, what kind of methods and interests that you have? It's like, oh, I use the most efficient, highly polished method so I can get to using Japanese as fast as possible. You don't love learning Japanese. Like, I refuse. Like, that is hard, sobering, straight up facts. You don't like learning a language. Learning a language is that process that you're shortcutting and you're constantly trying to mitigate your time with. You like the results of learning the language, not the learning process itself. This is what I mean. Most people don't actually like the learning process. The learning process is rigorous and difficult to understand and require a lot of time. These apps are from people who spent a lot of time learning and thought from that learning process they can share all the things that they have learned about the learning process involved in the language. So what makes these tools successful and useful are for the people who don't want to discover these things. They don't want to develop these things. So for myself, it's a mixed bag. Like, do I love these tools? I do. That's not going to stop me from applying myself and constantly using the tool and understanding the tool, because that is the learning process. That is the part that you're actually learning. You're learning how to learn a language. You're not learning the language. The language itself is the language itself is a component of this. So I just wanted to share that. That's gonna be our yap for the imaginary person today. Yeah. Anyways, more than welcome to come on by, share your hot takes about input and output, or how you're integrating, maximizing your time and the value of what you do. I personally think that this little loop here, or this like confoundedness here, is one of a place of great grievance, great tedium, regretfulness, and frustration among a large majority, like in my experience, anecdotally, a large majority of people who think language learning is instantly becoming a polyglot and enjoying that and constantly having that image of success in their head while losing sight of like what they do 90% of the time to get there. So this is my open dialogue, I guess, to the hypothetical person who is choosing to learn Japanese right now. Until next time, 皆さんまたね。見てくれてありがとう. Right? Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. I'm gonna get up, stretch, walk around a little bit, and I'll be back with Hanzuhiro. Thank you.